kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
This is going to be exciting. Green flag is out and underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
From Richmond Raceway in Old Dominion, just south of the Mason-Dixon line in our nation's capital, the Goat Locker Racing INVets Truck Series is ready to eliminate a couple of drivers tonight in our 2025 Spring Series playoff event. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We've got a barn burner on tap for you tonight. Of course, the INVets Truck Series returns to Richmond, where for the second year in a row it will serve as the cutoff race in the round of 12. Back in November, we saw a complete domination of this track by David Duke as he led all 106 laps, including both green-white checkers. After missing the first race of the playoffs, it was a must-win for Duke, who is the 2024 Fall Regular Season Champion. Tonight, we're looking for Duke to excel once again as he tries to break Mark Whitley's perfect record and gain crucial points over current leader Joseph McWhorter. I'm Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, I want to thank all of you for tuning in and making us a part of your evening. We want to thank you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Of course, we had just mentioned it a few moments ago, David Duke and his dominance here last season at Richmond Raceway, and tonight seems to be a continuance of that as he just went fast lap now here at 21.51 seconds as he's going to sit atop the pile at Richmond Raceway. Big night as always. As we did mention, we're going to be eliminating 4 drivers tonight in this round of 8. 66 degrees the outdoor ambient air temperature and 67 degrees on the asphalt tonight here at Richmond. And, of course, we want to thank David Duke for putting that top time up there and getting himself yet another this season Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award. And I'll tell you what, David Duke all season long has been incredible. We've seen this time and time again as Big Duke brings home that pole award, sponsored by Jam Printing and Promotions. Out of Plainfield, Indiana, we are local and we are veteran certified, and when we do well, we can do more good in the community. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning, and they provide GLR with all promotional items, including shirts, hats, decals, dog tags, you name it. Jam is GLR's go-to promotional company, and they, of course, sponsor our pole award every night of the week here in the Goat Locker Racing family. And, first of all, I want to thank all of you for checking in here as we go on down to Big David Duke, as he's going to sit on the inside pole. And as we get that grid lined up here, we're going to see that it's Mark Whitley, who's been dominant over the last several weeks here in Goat Locker Racing. He's going to be to the outside on row number 1. Row 2 going to feature Travis Bieber and Michael McCarthy, and they're going to be starting in 3rd and 4th tonight. Brandon Wallace and Andy Kurtz, they're going to be in row 3. Row 4 going to be held down by Mark Cofield and Jeremiah Holt, while Joseph McWhorter and Barrett Morton going to be in row number 5, rounding out your starting top 10. It looks like Barrett Morton not in the race truck just yet. Row 6 going to be Skylar Daly and Alex McQueen, and that's your starting top 12. And 13th, we have Jamie Libke, of course, out of Arizona tonight, alongside of Casey Jones. Kyle Wilson and Charles Habert going to be in row number 8 with Kevin Price and Brett Bieber, the other half of the Route 73 Mafia out of Ole, Pennsylvania, starting in 18th. Brock Price and Noah Hoagie Hogard starting 19th and 20th, with Richard McCarthy starting way back shotgun in the field in 22nd position. You're going to see tonight, folks, Dan Crakeel and Bobby Whitley's names show up in timing and scoring, but fear not, they are not on the racetrack tonight. Was just speaking with race director Dan Crakeel, and unfortunately, because of an iRacing update, it kind of changed the way things were lined up. So unfortunately, he had to get himself registered into the race. We want to thank our friends, of course, here at INVets, as you are watching the Goat Locker Racing INVets Truck Series live on Sim Racing Media. Dave Riegel here with you in the broadcast booth. INVets was founded by veterans and for veterans, and they aid in transitioning to civilian life, focusing on job placement and finding the right community for veterans and their families to ensure their success and happiness. They are a veteran nonprofit in Indiana with the goal of bringing veterans to that state to live and work, and they are the title sponsor of our Sunday Truck Series, the iRacing.com pace truck, bringing the field around, and they will have one more parade lap as they started on the front row. We want to thank our folks for checking in on the YouTube.com live chat. Jamie Libke saying vroom vroom, and Brandon Wallace saying let's go, happy Easter, as he is risen. And Big David Duke here in the above the yellow line Chevrolet Silverado gets himself settled in behind the iRacing.com pace truck. And of course, we'll talk about our friends over and above the yellow line. Of course, as I had mentioned a moment ago, Travis Bieber, the brother of Brett Bieber, they make up the Route 73 Mafia out of Ole, Pennsylvania. The iRacing.com pace car is off. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab your popcorn, your honey buns, and settle in. Race fans, it's showtime! Green flag in the air, and off we go at Richmond Raceway. Side by side are Mark Whitley and Big David Duke. Oh, and sideways they go! That'll bring out the first caution before the end of the first lap, and our two leaders wreck out as the yellow flag makes its ugly appearance tonight. Oh, good gravy. Let's see if we can find what might have just happened here, because good God. We'll check it out from our drone cam, as they were just nearby from what I'm getting out of the production studio. And it looks like the 74 rubs the wall and then comes down and just doors the 78. Let's see if maybe we can track this one down here. We're going to see them come in here. Oh, that is so hard to stomach. And once more from the gyro cam in the 78. On board with David Duke, and you can see the 74 just comes down onto him, turns him sideways. Now, Duke doesn't go the wrong direction, though. It actually really affects the 74 as he got turned completely around. And that's going to cycle Michael McCarthy out of Matamoros, Pennsylvania, driver of the number 3 to our race lead. Now it looks like Whitley is going to be taking that all horrifying pit penalty. And McCarthy here is going to be followed by Travis Bieber, Andy Kurtz, Jeremiah Holt, and Brandon Wallace. Of course, we also want to talk about what's going on tonight in our points, and we're not going to have a whole lot of time this time around as the iRacing.com pace truck turns its lights out. That means we'll be going green flag racing in just a moment. We want to thank our friends over at Save22.vet for supporting us in every way, and of course our good friends at Lincoln Tech. Lincoln's mission is to provide superior education and training to our students for in-demand careers in a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They are one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses, and they, of course, are the title sponsor of the Spring Series, and they're a huge partner of Goat Locker Racing as the iRacing.com pace truck gets ready to haul it down on a pit road. McCarthy with control of the field. They come into the tri-oval, and off we go. Barney waves the green flag, and they come diving in here to turn number 1. They come through turn 1 side by side on lap number 6. And so far, so good on the restart. We didn't get a full lap in with that caution, and now it looks like McCarthy and Kurtz are going to be exchanging blows. Now, Kurtz just laid down a 22.46 second lap as he passes McCarthy for the race lead for the time being, but he and McCarthy are neck and neck. McCarthy about 0.2 of a second slower that time around as Kurtz leads the way. They are door handle to door handle coming into turn number 1, nearly putting rubber to rubber as now McCarthy may have cooked a little bit too much grip off of those tires. He slides in behind Andy Kurtz, and McCarthy out of Matamoros, Pennsylvania, just below where Andy Kurtz is from, or I'm sorry, just north of where Andy Kurtz is from in Quakertown, PA. Matamoros just about the New York border at the other end of the northeast extension of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Now goes single file behind Andy Kurtz, our race leader, at 21.77 seconds. Casey Jones deeper in the field. We can see here the 34 and Alex McQueen in the 178 going at it now. McQueen drifts up to that red and white wall. Of course, those walls painted that way to make it look faster on television, and it sure does tonight here on YouTube.com. Dave Regal with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, flying solo here tonight as Jordan Brockel on assignment. And it looks like I may have a partner here in just a moment. And joining me now here in the broadcast booth, Sim Racing Media's very own Colin McDonough is better late than never. I do apologize for not getting it dragged up here sooner, but it's been a busy night at Richmond.
Hey, I've been fighting my own hardware issues, so sorry for my tardiness. Happy to be here.
Don't be sorry, just don't let it happen again, especially here on our airwaves. Just kidding. Swear to God, I'm kidding. Travis Bieber right now running in third. That's where he qualified, and so far so good. 22.04 seconds his last lap. His best was 21.89. It doesn't take a long time for the tires to wear away here. As side by side goes Brett Bieber. He's to the inside of the 80 machine of Kevin Price.
Richmond is brutal on tires, Dave. You were 100% right there. It's tricky to decide what kind of strategy you want to run, and cautions can really throw off any kind of strategy you're already on. This is I think one of my favorite tracks, possibly one of my favorite car and track combinations. The trucks at Richmond is an absolute blast, but it can get really hairy. They can get really loose off, and as the tires wear, you can get super tight on entry.
Yeah, and you have to understand that these trucks are set up, they're fixed set up, so everybody is basically equal, if you will. So needless to say, that can really be, a deciding factor here, especially as you've got to be able to make those adjustments, not necessarily to your setup, but to your driving style. And it seems like Andy Kurtz out of Quakertown, PA, has really gotten comfortable with this setup, at least in the early goings of these races. And this one specifically here is he's already put down the double deuce and Charles Abert next on the menu for Andy Kurtz to go ahead and put a lap down. As the double deuce of Skylar Daly is down a lap already, as is Joseph McWhorter. And these drivers, if you go on board here, we'll ride on board with Andy Kurtz. This is a very technical track for just being a mile long. And you can see the amount of feathering that comes into making sure that the rear end of that truck doesn't step out on you on the exit of turn 2, and then you've got to hold off that yellow line just enough so you can get good rotation but stay tight enough to not slide up the race or to not slide down the racetrack.
Yeah, Dave, you'll see a lot of people, especially later on in the run, finding the wall at the exit of turn 2. It can kind of sneak up and grab you. And being that these are all fixed setup, every driver has their own preference. Maybe they like the vehicle to be a little bit more loose or a little bit more tight. And when you have these fixed setup races, some drivers are really gonna, it's gonna jive well with them. As you see, like you said, Andy Kurtz kind of rolling away with this thing, and other drivers are gonna just struggle to adapt their driving style to what the setup has forced them to kind of cope with.
Well, and on these setups, especially with 100 laps and it being a fix-up, you're going to see, at least with this particular one, that comes courtesy of the McConey Setup Shop, which we'll talk about in a little while. But with this particular way, you're going to see these trucks go through 3 stages of the run. You're going to see them start out about neutral. They're going to get loose as all get out once those tires rub in. And then they're going to tighten up like a snare drum at the end of the run. So we're going to see a lot of, like a huge swing for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, and it really is a challenge to kind of predict the change in how the truck's going to behave before it happens. And those that can do it, you're going to see them really just kind of run away from the field.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what we're seeing out of Andy Kurtz right now. I mean, Kurtz with about 8/10 and almost 9/10 of a second lead over Michael McCarthy. Actually, this is a really weird top 3 right now, and I'm not saying that I'm biased. Yes, I am. But your top 3 right now are all from Pennsylvania. Quakertown from Andy Kurtz, Matt Morris from Michael McCarthy, and Travis is out of, this one really hits close to home. That's Ole, Pennsylvania. He is one half of the Route 73 Mafia, and quite frankly, that's my home county. I got family there. It's an interesting town. Andy Kurtz leads the way.
Can all appreciate a hometown bias.
Now, Mark Whitley, who qualified on the outside of the front row, on his recovery drive after getting tangled up with the 78 earlier in the night, he has already gotten back up into the top 10, and he is serving lunch right now to Kyle Wilson. And Wilson here in the 403 can do nothing except for watch the 74 drive away from him. And oddly enough, it's the 74 and the 78 chasing one another back through the field. And they are just stuck on each other like glue. And, of course, we see the 78 here with that above the yellow line paint scheme, and we want to thank our friends over at Above the Yellow Line. In 2021, Above the Yellow Line with Taylor Kitchen began as a podcast fueled by a passion for motorsports and a desire to build community. What started as a simple idea has grown into something far beyond what she could have imagined. And through this journey, Taylor and her team have not only connected with passionate motorsports fans, but also formed connections with several inspiring content creators united by their love for the sport. That passion and collaboration led to the creation of ATYL Media, a dynamic team of motorsports content creators dedicated to producing motorsports content that's fresh, informative, and fun. At ATYL Media, we cover everything you love about motorsports, from F1 and IndyCar to NASCAR, short tracks, and even virtual racing, which of course we have here tonight. We celebrate the sport's rich history, explore its exciting future, and enjoy every moment in between. This is Motorsports Media, your way, and without Above the Yellow Line Media, I don't know if you know this, Colin, but we wouldn't be here tonight. It was all literally a chance message I sent on TikTok to Taylor Kitchen, and I'll be gosh darn, almost a year later, here we sit in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth watching Andy Kurtz lead here at Richmond Raceway.
Well, Dave, it's an honor to be here, and I'm watching Mark Whitley just put to shame Jamie Libke, just working the bottom so well and just rolling with the 78 right in tow, trying to make their way back through the field, and really on a charge.
Well, and you know what? Jamie Libke, week after week here in the number 16 Lambda Legal Toyota Tundra, she's been out here night after night, between driving in the Truck Series and the ARCA Series, trying to get it done. And first of all, I can't say enough about how much I appreciate people like Jamie who, bring attention to what Lambda Legal does. Lambda Legal is an LGBTQ civil rights organization and law firm that specializes in ensuring the civil rights of members of the LGBTQ community, and they are protected and defended. In 2023, Lambda Legal sponsored Zach Herron, an openly gay driver for the ARCA Series Daytona 200 that year. And, quite frankly, the new ARCA car is the same model of the car that Herron was driving. So Jamie was able to make a proper replica of that car, and we support her and everything that she does here at Goat Locker Racing. And, of course, my sister, part of that clan in the LGBTQ community.
Love to see it. Honestly, love to see it.
All about courage here on iRacing.com. And right now what it's all about for Andy Kurtz is logging laps. Now, all of a sudden, Michael McCarthy looks like he's starting to close in just a little bit. The 48 just drove on by. And I don't get that one to save my soul, as the 48 was just able to get past Skylar Daly again. Ay. Daly not having a good day. Down 4 laps now.
Oh.
Now, I'm not going to jinx what Dan Craighill and I talked about off the air. And now he's our series director. First of all, when it comes to, good people in this world, Dan Craighill, he is among the best as far as being a series director that I've ever seen on the iRacing.com servers. Second of all, this group of people at Goat Locker Racing, I don't know how much people out there watching on YouTube, how much experience you have in other leagues on iRacing. Goat Locker Racing is the best. They have their act together, for lack of a better term. They put the right people in the right positions, and Dan Craighill is one of them. And, of course, we want to keep him in our prayers. And, he lives just around St. Louis. And, of course, they've got, some really nasty storms, tornado warnings, and all kinds of other, yuckiness. And, quite frankly, here we are on Resurrection Sunday. So we need to lift them up in prayer in that whole community, including our very own Alan Bergen. Of course, quite frankly, Alan Bergen, he's not going anywhere. If head full of rocks that boy has, I think he'll be fine.
No gust of wind could ever lift Alan Bergen away.
No, and even if he did, he'd look like the old lady from The Wizard of Oz, just pedaling a bicycle in a tornado. I got him doing that one. Drinking a Budweiser.
I think that's very accurate, Dave.
I love him like the brother that I wish my parents would have drowned in the river. Mark Whitley running right now in 9th position. Now, the last time we checked in on him, he was in 11th. Now he's gotten all the way up into 9th. So it's taken him a while, but, here's the thing. We're 41 laps in here. He's not driving aggressively. He knows he's got plenty of time and quite obviously has the skills that it takes to get through this piece. as we worked lap number 41. Joseph McWhorter had to retire because his PC crashed, and he will make points interesting because he only had a 19-point lead over the bubble. We haven't had I don't want to say the word, okay, but we haven't had a time during the race where I can put that graphic up on the screen, so let's talk about that real quick. And maybe if we do get the time, and let's hope, to be honest, I hope we don't have the time to put the graphic up because all of you that are race fans know what I'm talking about. But Joseph McWhorter, okay, he came in sitting atop the points for the series, but only 19 points separate him and Charles Abert. McWhorter came in with 1,049. Abert's got 1,030. That's 19 points separating first from ninth. Okay, we're going to a round of we're cutting 4 drivers going from the round of 12 to the round of 8, and there's 19 points. I mean, usually by this stage in the season, especially when a driver has 2 wins, you think to yourself, "Oh my God, 2 wins! This should be, in the bag." Here's
that is a tremendous statistic. That's such a tight points race.
But here's and we're going to go to McWhorter here. Here's the secret sauce. Okay, over the last several weeks, there has been, let's just say, a complete juggernaut run by none other than oh my goodness, oh there he is. I thought he disappeared from the racetrack. Mark Whitley. Now Mark Whitley here out of Wilmington, North Carolina, had going into last week 4 straight wins in the INVets Truck Series. Okay, that ties the GLR record. Now on his recovery drive tonight, and mind you, he's in 8th position in the 74. He could break that record tonight and go 5 in a row. But the thing is, Whitley he's not playoff eligible. Now, in every other race that he's run in this series, he's picked up the W. But unfortunately, because of not running enough races on the year, nobody's locked in, to the round of 8 because nobody has a win in the round of 12. Except for Mark Whitley right here. So think about that. I mean, at this point in the season, usually you've got somebody who's running away with it. And believe me, if Mark Whitley was playoff eligible, everybody might as well just, bend over and get spanked by the leather belt.
Yeah, that's one of those things that'll attendance is important. It can really get you. If you're not here for all the races, you might not be eligible, even if you've outperformed everybody else on track.
I mean, I've outperformed everybody else in the broadcast booth, and I was still, if we were having playoffs, I wouldn't be eligible. I missed 2 weeks due to vacation. I mean, it's not very often somebody outperforms me.
Alan, I feel like Alan Bergen is the most eligible on attendance.
Alan Bergen is. He is, to use Harry Callis's term, he is the man. Alan Bergen is the most reliable. He is more reliable than anybody I know. I mean, better than, a 75-year-old man taking Metamucil every day. You can set your watch by him. My favorite thing to do to peel back the SRM curtain is to go into the SRM voice hangout channel and just sit there, like middle of the afternoon while I'm at lunch at work, and just log in, right? Click there. Almost without fail, it's like the siren song. It's like putting it's like putting a piece of cake outside of the door of a Weight Watchers meeting. He can't stay away from it.
Hey man, he loves his crew.
He does. Listen,
especially you, Dave. Especially you.
Look, I told him already, his Cardinals are coming to Philadelphia about the second week of May. I'd be more than happy to host him if he'd come up here. And we could go, I could introduce him to real beer from the hills of Pennsylvania, not this crap that they make down there. Ray Ellingson said that not many watching, and says we need to talk about the race. Let's talk about the race right now. Travis Bieber, right where he began. And he's got about 0.3 of a second lead over Brandon Wallace. We're finally under green flag conditions for a pit cycle. And that's an interesting development here in and of itself, as now our pole sitter,
And
Big David
Richard
Duke.
McCarthy tagged the wall after already making his green flag pit stop.
That's not going to make anybody happy.
Ugh.
McCarthy, not a whole lot of damage there on the
No,
55.
just grazed it.
But, you know, here's the thing. This is something that, honestly, at least in my estimation, as Jamie Libke out of Phoenix, Arizona, comes down pit road, this is something I don't see a whole lot of on the iRacing.com servers ever. Green flag pit cycles at Richmond. What say you, sir?
Oh, it's not something you see frequently. No, and very rarely have I ever run a race at Richmond that went green to checkered with green flag pit stops. And when it does go green flag the whole time, it really plays into the strategies and who can run the longest on fuel, because it takes a while to get down pit road at Richmond.
Yeah, a while is definitely an understatement, as we see Brett Bieber on his way out in the 808 out of Ole, Pennsylvania. He's going to make it to the end of pit road, and as he crosses the line, you can see just how loose this setup is. I mean, he's got a bump steer all the way off of pit road, as now he hits the racetrack 59 laps in. And that's going to be something we need to really start watching, as we've got 59 laps in, that's 42 to go until the checkered flag flies. Now, the 48 of Andy Kurtz comes in. He has dominated this race so far, and now Brandon Wallace and Mark Cofield are going to cycle up here and collect some time at the front of the field. Now, of course, Brandon Wallace in the hunt for the playoffs. I mean, he's looking for that transfer spot, so he could use a bonus point for leading a lap. And Cofield.
Oh, no. Casey
no.
Jones.
What in the world, Casey Jones? Looking for him, can't find him. There he goes.
I just caught it out of the corner of my eye.
We're going to run this back and see what I can find here with Casey Jones, because I'll tell you what, this is a driver that we've seen time and time again this season. You know, I don't want to say, open mouth and insert foot, but here we go, the 34 coming off of 2 on those cold tires and the cold tire bug, just biting him.
That was a hard leg to the wall.
Brandon Wallace now cycles back to the race lead. Qualified in the top 5. Mark Cofield comes on down. So Wallace trying to pick up a bonus point here. And as soon as Wallace comes down, that will trigger everybody to get their laps back, as literally it's Wallace ahead of the rest of the field. Wallace, Noah Hoagie Hogard back here in the 158. He's decided that's enough. I'm going to come on down. But until just then, those were the only 2 drivers that had not come down pit road. Now, again, Dan Crakeel and I think they're trying to make us look like lunatics, and I'm not angry about it whatsoever. Mark Whitley just laid down fast time at 21.67 seconds on his last lap.
That is blisteringly quick, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, right now here on the left side of your screen, you can see everybody's last lap, and Whitley at 21.86 now is going to start making the charge forward. Barrett Morton's going to get his lap back.
Brandon Wallace comes down pit road.
Brandon Wallace going to come down for pit service here. And as we go on board here with Wallace, a nice, comfortable stop here as he goes into pit box number 5. The crew comes out. They're going to pop that right side up. He gooses the throttle a little bit, keeps that clutch pedal in. This way he doesn't go sliding completely out of here, but it also keeps the motor wound up. A nice rollout off of pit road for Brandon Wallace. He's going to come out in 10th position.
Very respectable.
67 laps in the books now for Andy Kurtz and Barrett Morton. They lead the way. We're going to step aside here on Sim Racing Media and pay some bills. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and making us a part of your evening. As I'm Dave Regal, he's Colin McDonough, and this is the Goat Locker Racing INVets Truck Series.
Thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. INVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. INVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about INVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging. And to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Richmond Raceway. Dave Regal and Colin McDonough with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Right now, your race leader is out of Quakertown, Pennsylvania, as we come back and go under caution. Nearly throwing what could have been a combined no-hitter here in the Goat Locker Racing INVets Truck Series. It's the round of 12 elimination night as we get ready to pare the league down to 8. And Barrett Morton registering as having crashed. Let's see what may or may not have happened.
Break. 3 wide down the front stretch.
Mercy. Let's watch Morton here in that 9-piece. He's got Michael McCarthy on the high side. The AO. Can't do that. Kevin Price can't be happy. He was the meat in the sandwich he didn't want to be part of.
Yeah, there are those moments on track when you want nothing to do with the cars that are coming up on you, and you don't have a choice in the matter.
No, in fact, let's go to Price here. We're going to go on board with him on the gyro cam. Here he is, minding his own business. He's on the high side, and all of a sudden he is just, he's got cars coming from places he didn't know he had. It's like getting diarrhea and you didn't even have Taco Bell that day.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Now, this is only our second caution of the evening. So first of all, let me give everybody a round of applause here in the broadcast booth, because we had a caution before the opening lap was completed. And now we didn't have this one until just now. I mean, what do we got there? 77 green flag laps, essentially? Or, well, a 77-lap run. Not bad.
That's awesome for Richmond. That's really good for Richmond.
Yeah! I'm telling you, I don't think I've ever seen green flag pit stops at Richmond.
Yeah, there's a part of me that anytime I run at Richmond that I loathe the idea of green flag pit stops.
Andy Kurtz, Mark Whitley, Michael McCarthy, Brandon Wallace, and Big Duke. That's going to be your top 5 when we go back green flag racing. Now, I haven't gotten a chance to talk to anybody tonight, but let's take a look at the, if we have enough time, and we do, as drivers are going to get back lined up here. Oh, first we have to even find the graphic. Let's go ahead and take a peek at it. Now, of course, we look here at our playoff bracket, and the first thing that you're going to notice is, as we mentioned, you know, Mark Whitley not part of this. Now, McWhorter came into the night, as I had mentioned earlier, 19 points above the cut line. Charles Abert 1 point below the cut line. So there's going to be a lot that has to do with, you know, where guys finish this race, or gals, as they come in here. As we go back green flag racing, you know, the drivers that I'm watching, of course, are, you know, Libke and Alex McQueen. As we go back here.
Oh, no. Trouble in the back.
And, of course, there's trouble in the back. And that's the double deuce. Parked sideways. And Skylar Daly was already having a really awful night. I'm guessing this isn't going to help.
But what a fantastic paint job.
I do like it. It's the Goat Locker Coors Light, I guess, combo.
Homage to Coors Light.
I mean, I'm not against it. That's for sure.
Oh.
So it actually looks like it started ahead of him with Mark Cofield in the 97. And I think the blimp was just overhead. Contact between Jamie Libke and the 97. Jamie Libke, she's able to scoot away from there. And as she scurries away, the rest becomes history. Oy. But Andy Kurtz still with control of the field. You know, and we've got a lot of race left here. I mean, you know, I realize that it's 16 laps to go, and everybody's like, oh, that's only, you know, that's the blink of an eye. But you have to understand, now 15 laps to go under the third caution of the night, which is going to be 13 when we go back green. The temperature's getting turned up on this oven, and nobody's happy yet. I want to invite everybody to head on over to goatlockerracing.org/donate and If you're wondering about what Goat Locker Racing is all about, I do invite you to go to goatlockerracing.org in the first place. And, you know, at GLR, we provide virtual racing equipment, racing team building opportunities, and fundraising events to support community initiatives that improve military and public servant quality of life. We seek to grow our competitive team of drivers and promote VR racing as a healthy activity to newly transitioning veterans and their families. We believe that friendly competition, adrenaline-soaked driving, and community gatherings are essential to a good quality of life for our civic servants and veterans, and GLR can be a force of good all across the state of Indiana and beyond. Donations, if you head on over to goatlockerracing.org/donate, they will fund equipment for qualifying drivers, racer simulation training for military, firefighter, EMS personnel, and police officers, public racing events and community outreach programs with a mobile simulator, other veteran-serving nonprofits, and, of course, veteran education supplement grants. And, you know, I've said this before, and, Colin, I don't know how much you tune in, and I'm going to pretend that you told me that you're here all the time. But, you know, when you hear about groups like the Red Cross and they say, oh, 70 or 80 cents of every dollar goes to admin and only 20 cents goes to, you know, the cause that you're donating to, everything that you give to GLR in one way, shape, or form goes to what you're seeing on your screen. It goes to taking care of, you know, the veterans that GLR serves. As we are back green flag racing here, as I had mentioned, 13 laps to go with the green flag in the air. And so far, so good. Just kidding. Caution number 4.
Yeah, I saw someone was loose off a turn 2 again.
I'm guessing it had something to do with Matamoros PA's Michael McCarthy. Watch the 3 machine. The 78 had to get out of the way. The 3 machine had checked up and gets turned by the 808. That's not loose. That and takes the inside, not so safer barrier to the face.
Yeah, you know, Dave, in the closing stages of a race, when you have these restarts, it's so important to get track position. And, you know, sometimes you get in a little bit too hot and you got to check up, and the car behind wants to get around you. So these things do tend to happen late race on restarts.
We're going to try to get a hold of Andy Kurtz right now, and he's currently our race leader, driver the number 48. Hey, Andy, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
What's up, Dave?
Buddy, listen, it seems like every time I talk to you, you wind up on the podium. You've been dominant all night long after that, you know, lap 1 incident between Whitley and Big David Duke. What's been your secret sauce, and do you think you can hold Whitley off and break this streak that he's got going?
No, I don't think so. Secret sauce is just not having a racing. So I think as long as we keep having cautions, I'll be able to do it. But no, he's really quick. So yeah, I'll give it my best.
Yeah, I mean, with just a handful of laps to go, 10 as a matter of fact, what's going to be the mindset, you know, as far as trying to keep everybody else behind you?
Yeah, just keep getting good launches here. Not really sure where he's running, you know, where he's quick. So I'm just gonna try to not overdrive it, keep it on the bottom, and make him really earn the pass, I guess.
All right, my friend. Well, listen. Good luck the rest of the way, and maybe we'll see you on the other side. And I better see you right here at the top of this podium.
I hope so. We'll do our best. Thank you.
All right, brother. That, of course, the voice of Andy Kurtz out of Quakertown, PA. It's going to be Kurtz, Whitley, and Duke, and he's got to hold those 2 drivers who have now duked it out, no pun intended, all night long to get back up here with just a few laps left in the twilight of this race.
Yeah, Mark Whitley has put in a tremendous drive to get back up front. There are a lot of trucks on track that have quietly moved up through the field. You know, looking from the blimp cam from time to time, it's been just a lot of really close, really clean racing. But a lot of people charging up to the front.
To your
so hit
point,
the Geico restart zone and get going again. Got Andy Kurtz off to a really good start. Big David Duke down the inside on Mark Whitley. Can he make it stick on the exit?
Oh,
Good
my.
drive off. David Duke wants this.
Andy Kurtz can... Oh! Andy Kurtz, I swear, I feel like I'm going to give birth here in the broadcast booth. Side by side goes Big David Duke and Mark Whitley. They're going to put fender to fender down the backstretch and into turn number 3. All the while, Andy Kurtz is trying to scoot away from the two of them. He's more than happy to watch them go at it back here behind him. And Andy Kurtz, now leading with 6 laps to go, is praying. Oh, there goes the 78 washing up the racetrack. He gets loose. We stay green as he stays pointed forward. But the 78 off the pace, and now there was one as Mark Whitley looks to assault that rear bumper of the 48. Whitley trying to go for 5 in a row, breaking a Goat Locker Racing record if he can get that 5th in a row. Kurtz, however, trying to be the spoiler as we go down the backstretch and into 3. Whitley going to look to the high side.
And David Duke did the best he could, and I'm sure Andy Kurtz really appreciates it. But Mark Whitley is there and getting down on the inside line.
Kurtz gets past, and Whitley is going to block. Oh, my. I mean, it seems appropriate. It's like there's a Union blockade here in Richmond along the Rappahannock. And my goodness, the 48 and now the 808 of Brett Bieber, 2 drivers from the Pennsylvania contingency. Oh, we go under caution with 3 laps to go. That's going to trigger NASCAR overtime. And folks, just in case you didn't think this could get more exciting, it just did.
I didn't quite see where it happened or who it was.
I'm guessing it has something to do with Jeremiah Holt, perhaps? Nope. This could be right around Kyle Wilson. Let's take a look. Kyle Wilson here in the 403. Maybe. Oh, gets loose.
Oh, no.
He got a little arrow loose coming off the rear end of the 9 of Barrett Morton. Definitely not a major incident, but that's just enough to turn sideways and cause everybody to think maybe I should slow down.
Yeah, you know, that's a deceptively easy thing to do at Richmond is to kind of get loose on the start-finish straight because it isn't straight. And when you're going full throttle, late run, maybe the tires are yelling at you to give them a little bit of a rest, but you're fighting for position. It's kind of easy to just get arrow loose and send it down into the grass.
You ever been to a Turkish bath?
I can't say that I have, Dave.
Oh, you never watched the movie Airplane?
Man, maybe bits and pieces.
You gotta tune into Captain Over there in the cockpit. Mark Whitley and Brett Bieber are going to bring us back to green. Now, Whitley, as we had mentioned earlier, out of Wilmington, North Carolina, he's got 4 in a row. Tonight could break the record. And I'm looking here to see if we can find Whitley in a chat somewhere, and I don't see him. I'd like to be able to chat with him. But Whitley trying to play spoiler here, and oddly enough, and Brett Bieber kind of in the same boat, if you will. But Brett Bieber not a playoff driver at all, not even in the top 12. However, brother Travis Bieber in the 114 is, and Travis is way back in 8th position and was above the cut line by just 6 points. So as far as I'm concerned, right now the highest running, I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together here, but it's, getting harder the later we go on in the evening and the more empty this cup gets. Andy Kurtz, nope. Brandon Wallace right now, your highest running playoff driver. I was just making sure everything was on the up and up, and the Odessa native here in the 99 with a little bit of smack talk a little smack.
Ooh.
A rough restart with 2 laps to go. The popsicle sticks are in the air. Now here's the deal. We've got to race back around and get to the white flag. If the caution should come out between now and when the white flag waves, we'll rack them, stack them, do it all over again as we're under NASCAR overtime rules. However, once the white flag waves, we will race back to checkers. And as they come out of turn number 4, the popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air. We're racing back to checkers. Mark Whitley and Brett Bieber go at it, putting fender to fender as sheet metal is going to scrape all the way down the backstretch. Loose as a goose goes the 48 of Andy Kurtz. Mark Whitley now leading the 808 of Brett Bieber, who has to hold off Andy Kurtz. But Whitley rolls out of turn number 4, crosses the start-finish line, and breaks the wins in a row record for Goat Locker Racing, just ahead of Brett Bieber and Andy Kurtz. Rounding out your top 5 is Big David Duke and Brandon Wallace, and Brett Bieber and Andy Kurtz really tried to put things to bed for Mark Whitley tonight, and could not get it done, as Mark Whitley breaks the wins in a row record for Goat Locker Racing right here at Richmond Raceway. As it's elimination night, we're going to see what that does to the points. Hopefully as soon as things get edited here by series director Dan Craigkeel. What a night for you to slide in here, Colin.
Dude, that was exciting, Dave. I'm not going to lie. That was a heck of a last few green laps.
Oh, taking care of business in fewer laps than they had to last year. The 72 of Joseph McWhorter, he comes down to the start-finish line, and it may be a few minutes until we know what the results are points-wise. As we're waiting for those podium drivers to come on into the broadcast booth, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and of course we want to thank our good friends at INVets. Founded by veterans and for veterans, and they aid in the transition to civilian life for so many of our veterans, focusing on job placement and finding the right community for veterans and their families to ensure their success and happiness. They are a veteran nonprofit here in Indiana with the goal of bringing veterans to that state to live and work, and they are the title sponsor of the Sunday Truck Series. And Colin, you've picked a great week to slide on in here. We're waiting now for our race winner, Mark Whitley, to come on in, as well as Brett Bieber and Andy Kurtz. And here is Mark Whitley, driver of the number 74, the now record holder, Mark Whitley. Hey, Mark, it's Dave up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Buddy, listen, I mean, great run tonight. You had 4 in a row coming into the night, and it looked like Brett, Andy, and Dave Duke were really trying to drive the wheels off of their own trucks just to beat you here. How did you hold them off, and take us through that lap 1 caution?
Yeah, I got a really good jump on the restart, on the initial start. We were side by side. I was really trying to get in front of him. I think we were just both pushing hard. It looked like, I haven't watched the replay, but it seemed like from inside the truck, it looks like maybe he just overdrove it and it went up the hill, like either got tight or got loose, and we got just barely any contact. And these trucks were so on edge all night. That's all it took. And I was up there in the top lane, so I looped it around trying to keep it off the wall, but then I kind of tagged it with the left side and had about 45 seconds of damage and got most of it fixed. I didn't want to use the fast repair. Kind of after that, I was just picking my way through the field, and I could tell the truck was still a little hurt, but it wasn't too bad. And we got up, I think, top 5 before everybody started pitting. I could see I was about, I think it was 5 seconds behind Andy, and I was just like, all right, if I come in same time as him, I use my fast repair and just drive the wheels off of it, maybe I'll get there. And we almost got there before the cautions started coming out, and then we kept getting those cautions, and I was worried I wasn't going to have enough laps because, when you usually on the when you're starting here, the leader gets a really good jump or a good advantage, and he takes a lap or two to get back to him. and it was just thankfully I had a couple laps there. Me and him battled pretty good. Then the caution came out. Then I don't know if the 808 jumped the start or just timed it perfectly. I think he beat me to the line, and I did not want that one to get away. As hard as I drove the whole race, I was not about to let that go without a fight. So thankfully, I think he overdrove one of the corners, and we were able to get cleared. And I about put it in the fence off 4, trying to make sure I got back to the gas before him, and about walled it. So thankfully, I didn't do that. And now we're sitting in victory lane, and that was a very eventful night.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly didn't doubt that you weren't about to try to put the fear of God into somebody after all the work that you put in coming back up here to the lead. But hey, listen, congratulations on picking up win number 5 and once again playing the spoiler in, of course, the point standings here, because it's cut night and, you as a non-playoff driver are up here just, really making everybody else have to put the work in, and I think it's fantastic. For what you've done. So before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done tonight on the 74 machine?
Oh, yeah, a big shout out Brantley over at Harpoon Designs, put together all these awesome paint jobs. We should have a new paint job next week because we got a new sponsor on board. Not technically 100% official yet, but it's 95% official. So check out jawa.gg. They're the best online marketplace for like used PCs, parts. They're gamers. It's marketplace built by gamers for gamers instead of all the scalping crap we got going on now. So check them out at jawa.gg. Another big shout out to my teammate. He's having some issues with a computer. Seems to be some internet/VR related issue that neither one of us can figure out what's going on with it. But hopefully we can get that sorted for him. I know not the run he wanted tonight over there, Joe, but he's toughed it out and finished the race. Huge shout out to the league for having me. It's kind of amazing to come in here and already have a record like that. That's something I never would have dreamed of. INVets, Lincoln Tech, Save 22, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, all the great causes that make this league go around. It's a really big honor for me, especially after the night. I feel like I really earned the night. I had to drive through the field, so really glad to have that record, and maybe we can keep extending it. If not, we got the record at least for now.
Yeah, it's one thing to have the record. It's another thing to defend the record, that's for sure, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations, and I can't wait to see what goes on as we get deeper into the season. Next week, we head on to Iowa in the round of 8, so good luck, and we'll see you next week in the Hawkeye State.
Sounds good, guys.
That the voice, of course, of our race winner, Mark Whitley, now owner of 5 trophies in a row. Next up on the podium is Ole, Pennsylvania's very own Brett Bieber. And Colin, I believe you have Brett with you now.
Hello, Brett Bieber. Do you have a copy?
Hey, guys. Yep, I can hear you.
Well, congratulations on a P2 finish. Tremendous drive. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you are the biggest mover of tonight's race. Take us through that and how you made it happen tonight.
I didn't do so hot on qualifying. Kind of messed up my lap, and I was trying to be patient coming up through the field, and we had a nice kind of long run there where I was able to get up through, and the yellows went my way with restarts and stuff, and I surprisingly actually had a shot there on the last restart, which was nice, but it was a good race with Mark, so I'm happy to end up second.
Well, it seemed like a pretty tremendous drive, if I'm being quite honest. Is there anybody want to give a shout out to or say thanks for getting here tonight?
I just want to thank my teammates Andy and Travis. I have fun racing with them. I probably wouldn't do it if they weren't running, so made for a good night.
Well, thank you for coming out here, and congratulations on a P2 finish.
All right, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. That the voice of Ole, Pennsylvania's very own Brett Bieber, driver of the number 808, half of that Route 73 Mafia. And last but certainly not least, as we mentioned all the time from just up the road here on I-476, Andy Kurtz out of Quakertown, PA. Hey, Andy, it's Dave. You got me?
What's up?
Man, I almost feel like a curse. I think at this point I'm not going to talk to you anymore mid-race when you're doing really well.
Oh, you good, man. It's all good.
Look, I mean, you were trying to hold off Mark Whitley, and that's like trying to plug up a dam that's leaking with bubble gum. I mean, Whitley was a man on a mission tonight.
Yeah, he's super quick. I think he's won every single race he's ever been in history. So I mean, he earned it too. I mean, he was backed into a corner, lap one, getting wrecked. So yeah, I knew I was in trouble when we cycled through that green flag pit stop, and he was only like 2 seconds behind me. So he was super quick. So I had the luxury of just being able to take it pretty easy. All 82 laps I led, and just didn't lead when it counted. But congrats to him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, you were absolutely dominant. I mean, you were out there throwing haymakers at everybody, keeping them away from your back bumper. And I mean, we had such a long green flag run, literally from like lap 1 to lap 77. After coming back from that initial caution. Then, of course, those cautions, they bunch everybody back up. For my money, if it would have stayed green, I would have said that you would have been our race winner tonight, being able to keep everybody behind you. But once you start to bunch the field back up, it gets really hard to defend.
Yeah, yep, that's very true. You're just driving in your mirror once like you said, once you're bunched up, and it's just a couple more laps, and you're expecting to have more yellows too. So you really want to make sure that you're in the lead. I think I just lost the lead right before that one caution came out. But yeah, it's tough. But what are you gonna do? So yeah, all in all, really good race. I'm definitely not the best here, so I had a lot of fun tonight.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, maybe we're going to have to set something up where we can head on over to Sellersville and hit up the Moose Lodge. But for the time being, good luck, and I'll see you next week in the Hawkeye State over in Iowa.
There we go. Sounds good, man. Yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate everything you guys do and all of our partners here at Goat Locker.
Absolutely. The voice, folks, of Andy Kurtz, driver of the number 48 out of Quakertown, PA. We want to thank all of you for tuning in. As, of course, and now I can't. There we go. Way too many things floating around our Discord channel. The first thing I want to do as we thank Andy for his time is announce which drivers didn't make the cut. Kevin Price, Alex McQueen, Andrew Player, and Jim Kaufman all eliminated from the playoffs. So next week when we head on out to Iowa, it's going to be David Duke, Brandon Wallace, Joseph McWhorter, Travis Bieber, Michael McCarthy, Jamie Libke, Charles Abert, and Jeremiah Holt. What an interesting field that is, Colin.
Dave, I'm going to have to take your word for it on this one.
You're going to have to take my word for it. I just realized
some of these drivers are new to me, but from what I saw on track, all deserving of being in there.
Folks, first off, make sure that you tip your cap to Colin on the way out as he was filling in for the great Jordan Braukel tonight. When he says that some of these drivers are new to him, he means literally every last friggin' one. But David Duke, he's going to lead us into that round of 8 before we cut down to a round of 4. And as it stands right now, he's only 27 points above the cut line. Now, Jeremiah Holt and Kevin Price each had 1,059 points, but Jeremiah Holt had the tiebreaker, which is a better average start and finish than Kevin Price. So that's how Kevin Price is eliminated from the playoffs with 1,059 points. And it also sends I keep trying to say Alexander McQueen, but I think that's that shoe brand. Andrew Player and Jim Kaufman out of the playoffs. So it's been an interesting race, and Colin, I'm appreciative of you coming in and filling in for Jordan Braukel. As always, it's good to hang out with you as we bring up those final results here. Mark Whitley and Brett Bieber, Mark Whitley brings home the checkered flag. He's joined on the podium by Brett Bieber and Andy Kurtz. Big David Duke and Brandon Wallace come home and finish out your top 5 with Barrett Morton, Michael McCarthy, Travis Bieber, Mark Cofield, and Kyle Wilson making up the remainder of your top 10. Finishing 11th is Richard McCarthy with Jamie Libke. She comes home in 12th position with Kevin Price in 13th. Charles Abert and Noah Hogarth come home 14th and 15th with Brock Price. Casey Jones, Alex McQueen, Jeremiah Holt, Joseph McWhorter, and Skylar Daly finishing dead last in the field. So for myself, Dave Regal, and my broadcast partner extraordinaire, Mr. Colin McDonough, we want to thank all of you for tuning in and making us a part of your evening right here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank our friends at INVets for getting us on the air tonight and every Sunday night right here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank our friends at Goat Locker Racing and encourage all of you to head on over to goatlockerracing.org/donate to ensure that we stay on the air and that your veterans and your civil servants and first responders are all taken care of right here. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.